PYX Resources is dual listed in London and Australia with the ticker PYX, PYX. It announced its first shipment of monazite-rich zircon concentrate to a customer in China. It's also had its shareholder meeting. I'm delighted to be joined by Oliver Hasler, the Chief Executive and Chairman. So you've just come out of that shareholder meeting, Oliver. So what happened? What was the vibe like?
Hi, Sarah. The vibe was very good. I mean, all four resolutions passed, but important was that we come from very strong results in 2023, so we're building our business on a strong foundation. So I'm assuming that and seeing that in the vote that shareholders are very happy with the results so far and the continuous results we're showing in the company.
And certainly the news flow, because monazite-rich zircon, before we talk about why this shipment is important, some investors will need to know what it's used for.
Sure. Let me start just from the global picture. I mean, as you know, we're a mineral sands mining company, which main product is zircon. And until now, we have had byproducts of ilmenite and rutile, which is titanium dioxide. On Tuesday, we announced our first shipment of monazite-rich zircon concentrate. So it's actually zircon, like we have exported until now, but contains monazite. And monazite is an important part of mineral sands, and in particular because it has rare earth. There are 17 types of rare earth, and you know those are strategic products around the world. The most commonly known rare earths are cerium, lanthanum, thorium, neodymium, and yttrium. For those who follow rare earth. And this is of big value because a lot of innovative products and products that are required towards the transition of carbon zero rely on this rare earth. For example, they're needed for the production of catalysts, magnets, electronics, energy-efficient lighting, aerospace components, electric vehicles components, and medical devices.
So if that's the case, that's an awful lot of end users. Can supply from you keep up with demand?
I mean, we will always supply everything that we produce. We produce about 8 to 10% of the equivalent of our zircon production will end up being monazite rich zircon concentrate. And the same as zircon and ilmenite, everything we produce will be sold since there's such a high demand in the world. China is the biggest global producer with around 70% of the global production. You know, rare earths are a strategic element around the world because of its importance. It has not only in technology, but also in military applications, etc. So it will not be a problem to sell everything, but obviously it's not enough for the huge demand. We just exported 750 tons on a world consumption of 340,000 tons. So our production is relatively small for the global demand.
So this customer that's bought the monazite-rich zircon, is this customer one of the few or one of the many? And were you pleased with the terms that you got from this customer?
One of the few, I guess, would be the right answer because you need special permits to import rare earth into China. So not all the zircon consumers can use it. And today it's mostly used by the companies that are in nuclear power applications on the nuclear sector. So it's one of few. I mean, depends on the definition of the few. It's more than two hands full of exports to China, which would be our natural export partner. As far as the terms, yes, we're happy. It is an important generator of cash, but usually as policy, we don't give detailed commercial terms.
Okay, I understand the commercial sensitivity, but I'm scrolling through your investor updates, and it was less than 2 months ago that you announced the first shipment of ilmenite. That was a milestone for the company. Is the exporting of zircon concentrate of equal importance?
Absolutely. If you looked in the past, we were absorbing all of our cost with our zircon production, and we were generating as byproducts ilmenite and rutile and monazite. This year, we are selling ilmenite, we are selling monazite, so this will give us a new entry of cash at very high margins because, as I said, we absorb the cost within the zircon. A different way, ilmenite is much lower prices but very high volumes, while monazite is much smaller volumes with very high prices. So at the end of the day, they will be almost as important. Probably ilmenite on the long run will be a bigger entry, while monazite is much more of a strategic product which will allow us to retain customers and build around them.
So what do these two shipment milestones mean? A, for credibility, and secondly, cash flow.
First, it's a huge increase of our volumes. We said that in our 5-year plan, we wanted to produce 48,000 tons. We're probably doubling our volume sales in the first half. So that significantly shows the big milestones we're achieving within our plan, not only in volumes, but also in product diversification. As far as cash flow is concerned, it is very important because it's a new entry of cash. Where all the costs were already absorbed in the past. So we should see that reflected in a very positive way in our bottom line, as expected and projected in H1.
So I'm interested in the macroeconomic universe. Are we on a cusp of a commodities supercycle? And if so, will rare earth miners such as yourselves be the beneficiaries, particularly ones such as yourself, which is in the midst of its 5-year plan?
That's a very complex question. So I think on one side, investors are growing increasingly concerned about the effectiveness of monetary and fiscal policies, which in addition to rely on the US dollar as a reserve currency will lead investors to continue to rotate into real assets. So we know that all of the materials we produce are real transactions. So the prices are results of real transactions, and there's no speculation around them. They're not on any type of stock exchange, which is a big advantage in our product category. We also understand that while the world population growth has slowed down, the demand for resources continue to increase. And it's compounded by a significant urbanization, which is taking place, which will drive the need of commodities as a result of increased energy consumption, construction, etc. So there will be an increased need of our products. And as you know, zircon and titanium dioxide and monazite are critical minerals towards the transition to carbon zero. So there could be a commodity supercycle. We will see, but for sure there will be an increased demands of our products. So independently from a commodity supercycle, I'm very bullish in the future of zircon, ilmenite, rutile, and monazite.
So finally, why should investors add the ticker PYX to their watch list?
You know that we have great ambitions and to meet our production growth targets, which we have shown also in most of the interviews that you and I have had. And this increase of volume that we're showing will boost our bottom line. We are also working very hard on increasing our operational efficiencies, and strategically want to consolidate the entire mineral sands industry in Indonesia. Currently, our share price offers a very attractive entry point vis-a-vis the intrinsic value of our asset base. If you compare where the share price is today compared to what researchers see as fair value, there's a very big benefit. So I think it's a very good opportunity for investors to join our company.
Wonderful. Oliver Hasler, Chief Executive and Chairman of PYX Resources. Thank you for joining us indeed. Thank you.